ministry no longer uses conventional herd immunity formula. Malaysia on track to fully vaccinate 100% adult population. Good evening. Thanks for joining us and you're watching News at 10. I'm Mohammed Amin Carlos. The Health Ministry, the MOH, will no longer be using the conventional formula of evaluating herd immunity based on the achievement of vaccinating 80% of the adult population in efforts to curb COVID-19. Its Minister Khairi Jamaluddin explained that health experts worldwide had stopped using this formula and were instead focusing on vaccinating as many people as possible. This is due to the outbreak of the Delta variant of the virus resulted in the herd immunity targeted to exceed 80%.
Saya sebagai Menteri Kesihatan, saya tidak lagi guna terma immunity kelompok. I don't use herd immunity anymore. Pada waktu kita mulakan program vaksinasi, kita menggunakan formula yang konvensional untuk kita kira herd immunity, yang didapati bahawa antara 70 hingga 80% vaksinasi baru kita dapat herd immunity. Tetapi pada waktu itu sebelum penularan varian Delta has basically thrown out the herd immunity calculation, and it is difficult to say when kita boleh dapat herd immunity dengan izin. Sebab itu kita jangan lagi melihat kepada soal herd immunity. Kita kena pastikan bahawa liputan itu seluas mungkin.
Khairi was responding to a query by Pontian MP Datuk Sri Ahmad Mazlan regarding high COVID-19 fatalities in the country despite the current vaccination rate. Therefore, he emphasized that the ministry is currently tracking those who have still not received or refused to receive the vaccine via outreach methods. He also informed that of the total 18,986,347 individuals fully vaccinated, only 1.4% of them have been infected. 1,734, or 0.7% of them, have died. The Education Ministry, the MOE, has provided a teaching and learning PDPR manual to guide parents, teachers, students, as well as school administrators for the reopening of schools next month. Senior Minister Dr. Razzie Jidin said the manual was made to ensure the PDPR rotation method can be implemented smoothly. He said the move was following the difficult period faced by the country since 2020, which caused schools to be closed for a long period. Dr. Razzie explained that the government has taken into account views from all parties before making the decision. The approach was also done taking into account the current COVID-19 situation involving the highly dangerous Delta variant.
Dan dalam konteks ini tadi, apa yang kita tekankan semangatnya adalah kembalikan murid ini ke sekolah. Dan kita perlu ingat, dalam konteks Kementerian Pendidikan, ada lebih 5 juta orang murid di seluruh negara. Dan mereka ini datang daripada pelbagai latar belakang. Ada yang mendapat akses kepada internet, yang ada peranti yang boleh belajar dengan baik di rumah. Namun ada yang jauh ketinggalan dalam konteks pembelajaran bersama guru di sekolah kerana mereka tidak mempunyai kemudahan. Jadi mencari titik tengah ini memerlukan satu perincian yang cukup mendalam.
In a related development, the Education Ministry realizes the importance of providing an integrated network to improve the nation's online education system. Well, set to be launched next month, the initiative will involve strategic collaboration with the Malaysian Administrative Modernisation and Management Planning Unit, known as MAMPU.
Rangkaian bersepadu KPM yang berlandaskan 3 prinsip utama, iaitu bersesuaian dengan tujuan atau fit for purpose dengan izin, kekal relevan pada masa hadapan atau dengan izin future proof, dan penyelesaian yang terbaik, penyelesaian yang holistik atau dengan izin holistic solution.
Rangkaian bersepadu KPM ini dijangka dapat mula dilaksanakan pada pertengahan tahun 2022.
Dr. Ranzi explained that the ministry views seriously the issues faced by many students, especially those in rural areas where it is difficult to conduct online learning. He was answering a query from Besut MP Dato Sri Idris Juso. Malaysia is on track to fully vaccinate 100% of its adult population by the end of October, according to Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz. In his opening address at the Kula Sustainability Summit held virtually today, he said that complementing this vaccination program is over 300 billion ringgit worth of assistance still available, which will support the nation's gross domestic product, or GDP, that is expected to grow between 3% and 4% this year.
As recovery gathers momentum, our nation will be on track to achieve growth between 5 to 6% in 2022, based on the latest projections by World Bank and the IMF.
Well, according to him, just as COVID-19 has widened the inequality gap, climate change too has mostly impacted those least able to shoulder the burden. And Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul said there must be a transformation of the economic and financial systems, as well as sectors pertaining to food, water and energy, in a manner that is sustainable, inclusive, just and fair. On another note, Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Abdul Aziz also called on the private and public sectors to work together to ensure an equitable and rapid transition to a net zero carbon economy. Well, he said it is important to start addressing the risks posed by climate change, which he described as humankind's greatest challenge.
In transitioning to a climate-resilient economy, no government is in a position to do all the heavy lifting on its own. The additional fiscal pressure is expected to be immense due to the cost of transition.
Yang Berhormat Senator.
In his opening remarks at the third edition of CIMB's The Cooler Earth Sustainability Summit 2021 held virtually today, the Finance Minister said, in fact, climate experts have already started the conversation on net negative emissions, as reaching net zero alone will no longer be enough. Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul added that this entails reducing emissions in-house as much as possible, including carbon capture through both nature-based solutions and negative emissions technologies. The Minister further noted that for businesses, climate change poses significant risks to profitability. Well, over 376,000 job seekers have been able to secure employment through 17 initiatives conducted by the government as of 10th September. Well, Prime Minister Dato Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob in a statement said the number exceeds the initial target of 354,276 job opportunities up to 30th September. Well, as such, the Premier is confident that the government's target to create 500,000 job opportunities this year will be achieved. Now, the figures were disclosed at the third meeting of the National Employment Council, or NEC, which he chaired yesterday. Dato Sri Ismail Sabri added that the government had also managed to create 97,000 new jobs through domestic investments, 76% of which are in skilled and semi-skilled categories. Now, this number of new jobs opened up is part of the objective of creating 160,000 new jobs from the government's investment commitment of 2021. The Transport Ministry will ensure that all express and tourism buses are in good condition, as in preparation for the case of cross-border travel to be allowed. Now, its Minister, Dato Sri Dr. Wee Ka Siong, said the preemptive measure is meant to ensure the safety of passengers using public transportation.
Sudah tentu je ianya dialu-alukan oleh pihak pengusaha. Tapi kita sedia maklum bahawa mereka dah tergendala untuk satu ketika, maka perlu kita nak restart balik dan perlu sedikit persediaan. Saya rasa kurang-kurangnya sekarang sudah ada buffer untuk mereka buat persediaan. Dan penjualan tiket dan sebagainya perlu kita buat secara tidak menjejaskan tidak menyebabkan penularan COVID-19. Dan pada waktu yang sama saya lihat bukan sekadar bas ekspres, bas persiaran akan bertambah dan kita akan melihat lebih ramai yang menggunakan penerbangan domestik dan itu juga dari segi frekuensi akan bertambah dan kita nak memastikan pematuhan itu adalah secara ketat dan supaya dia tidak berwujud satu kluster baru, ya, itu yang penting.
He explained that bus operators must also make the necessary preparations ahead of schedule and standard operating procedures, including ticket sales. Yesterday, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, in a statement, announced that interstate travel will be allowed once the country hits 90% adults vaccinated. The National Digital Network Program, Jendela, will be continuously implemented to ensure its impacts can be perceived quickly by the rakyat, as well as ensuring high-speed internet connectivity nationwide. And according to Communications and Multimedia Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa, among efforts conducted are periodic revision of early objectives such as the number of new communication towers, upgrading existing transmitting stations, as well as preparing premises with fiber optic and satellite broadband connectivity.
Bagi liputan di seluruh negeri Sabah dan Sarawak, perancangan dan pencapaian jendela sehingga kini ialah sebanyak 1,295 stesen pemancar di Sabah dan 1,209 stesen pemancar di Sarawak telah pun dinaik tarafkan, manakala 382 menara baru untuk Sabah dan 636 menara baru untuk Sarawak dari sejumlah 1,661 menara baru yang perlu dibina untuk menjayakan program ini.
He explained that rural areas in Sabah and Sarawak and Orang Asli settlements were also given priority for preparation of satellite technology broadband services. The ministry, via the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission, will continue to work with state government agencies, including in Sabah and Sarawak, to identify the need and coordinate efforts in broadband initiatives to avoid any overlapping in location coverage. Coming up next, PGA confiscates contraband liquor, cigarettes worth over 2 million ringgit. Well, the General Operations Force, the PGA, arrested 2 people and confiscated contraband liquor and cigarettes worth more than 2 million ringgit at the premises early today. Northern Brigade PGA Deputy Commander Muhammad Noh Khamis said the operation was carried out by the 3rd Battalion, known as the Senoi Prague, following detailed surveillance and monitoring carried out since last month. He said during the Ops Contraband raid, the team managed to arrest 2 men aged 51 and 59 at the premises in Jalan Station Tapa, Perak at 2:15 a.m.
Rokok pelbagai jenis berjumlah hampir 4,105 karton, arak berbagai jenis 38,628 tin, minuman keras yang berbotol berjumlah hampir 3,421 botol, 1 lori dan 1 pickup Isuzu. Anggaran nilai rampasan berjumlah RM2,26,481.86.
Briefing reporters today, Muhammad Noh added that the duo, who had no criminal record, had been active for almost 6 months, and the team had kept a close watch on them for almost a month. Initial investigation revealed that they obtained the contraband liquor and cigarettes from the Klang Valley to be distributed at the Orang Asli settlements, as well as sundry shops in Bidor, Kampa, Tapa, Teluk Intan and Cameron Highlands. The case is being investigated under Section 135, Subsection 1, Subsection D, Customs Act 1967 for possession or selling of smuggled cigarettes, Section 20 or Section 20, Subsection 1, and Section 74, Subsection 1 of the Excise Act 1976. Selangor police busted a syndicate stealing and modifying electric city supply to carry out Bitcoin mining activities around the state, which resulted in the biggest seizure of Bitcoin set up worth 1.282 million ringgit. Now, State Police Chief Dato' Arjunaidi Mohamad said in the integrated operation on 21st September, the Police and Tenaga Nasional Berhad or TNB Special Engagement Against Losses team launched an operation and raided 30 premises that were carrying out the mining activities in 8 Selangor districts. During the raids, police also arrested 9 local men, aged between 18 and 27, who later revealed the other premises where the maintenance of the machines were under their control. Investigations found that TNB suffered losses of 24.36 million ringgit as a result of the illegal activities carried out since September last year.
Nilai kerugian oleh TNB akibat daripada aktiviti yang ini, sindiket yang ini, adalah sebanyak nilai 24.360 juta. Anggaran dia 70,000 untuk satu premis dan 30 premis kali 12 bulan. So nilaian kasar satu unit Bitcoin nilai dia 1,167 untuk sebulan. Okey. Dan nilai mesin yang dirampas berjumlah 25.642 juta.
Briefing reporters today, Dato' Arjunaidi said police seized 2,137 mining machines worth 1.282 million ringgit, 10 laptops, 5 sets of computers, and 6 units of Ethereum mining graphics card. Well, he said the suspects have been remanded between 2 and 4 days under Section 379/427 of the Penal Code and Section 37, subsection 1 of the Electric Supply Act 1990. But police are actively tracing the mastermind of the group to assist in the investigation. Well, the fisherman who went missing while fishing about a nautical mile from Kuala Lumpur jetty in Port Dickson yesterday was found drowned this morning. Well, now, the body of Yap Fok Swee, 64, was found at 7:50 a.m. by the rescue team near Bagan Kurnia Beach, about 2.5 kilometers from the jetty. The team had resumed their search and rescue operation at 6:30 a.m. and found the body floating near the area after being alerted by a member of the public.
Pada waktu kita buat pengesahan mangsa 2.5 daripada darat dipercayai mangsa jatuh, mangsa masih lagi lengkap berpakaian dah terapung dalam keadaan sempurna.
Well, 6 Indonesian crew members on board MV Ocean Serene were rescued by a public boat after the vessel sank in Port Klang waters yesterday. And the Malaysian Marine Department, in a statement today, said its Central Region Division received a report on the incident at 7:30 p.m. Well, it said that initial investigation found that strong winds had pushed the vessel to the left side, causing it to be filled with water that entered rapidly through a hole in the transom, which is the vertical section of the rear of the vessel. However, efforts to pump out the water was unsuccessful, causing the vessel to tilt further down to the left. Well, meanwhile, the department said it would continue with its observations to detect oil spills in the surrounding area and any movement of the wreck. The statement said the department would also place marker buoys at the site to notify mariners and ensure that the shipping community do not use the route, adding that investigations would be carried out to identify the cause of the incident. In our sports segment, former All Blacks captain takes charge of national rugby squad. We begin with local sports. In rugby, now former New Zealand rugby team captain Rodney So'ualo will take on the task of coaching the national squad to face the challenge of the 2021 Asian Rugby Championship in Hong Kong early next year. And Malaysian Rugby Union, the MRU Deputy President Amir Amri Mohammed said Rodney's selection was decided by the MRU Executive Committee and Coaching Board based on his extensive experience in coaching several internationally renowned clubs such as Honda Heat, Japan, Wellington Lions, Verona Rugby Club, Italy and Tawa Rugby. Well, Rodney's appointment means the 42-year-old coach will take over the duties left by Bradley Moni Mika, also from New Zealand, after last coaching the Hibiscus 15s in 2019. Now, Amir Amri, who is also the national team manager, said Rodney, who is currently in Sri Lanka, is expected to arrive in Malaysia on 31st October and will start his first duties in the second phase of the national squad training session on 22nd November. Now, Rodney, who often played at number 8 position, helped the All Blacks win the 7-a-side World Cup in 2001, the 2002 Commonwealth Games gold medal in Manchester, England, and played in the 15-a-side World Cup in 2003 and 2007. And having collected 62 caps with New Zealand, he was also appointed to the player selection panel for the All Blacks last year, as well as coach of the coach and running program at Trinity College, Sri Lanka this year. Well, on to football. Newly appointed Sabah FC head coach Dato' Ong Kim Swee has not received any pressure from the team management ahead of his first task in the Malaysia Cup 2021, which starts this Sunday. And Dato' Kim Swee, 50, who had won the FA Cup in 1995 and the 1996 Premier League when donning the Rhinos jersey, well, said there was no benchmark set by Sabah FC for the prestigious tournament, which celebrates its 100th anniversary this year. However, Dato' Kim Swee, who has achieved some sweet success with the national squad on the international stage, still has high hopes and would like to see Sabah FC give a positive performance throughout the tournament. And Sabah FC, who have never won the Malaysia Cup with the best record as runners-up 3 times in 1996, 2002 and 2003, are drawn in Group D with Johor Darul Takzim, Petaling Jaya City FC and a Premier League team to be determined soon. Well, although no specific target was set, the former coach of the national under-23 squad and the national senior team admitted that the Rhinos could not take any match in their Malaysia Cup campaign lightly. And he said the Malaysia Cup was one of the platforms for the Sabah FC players to display their ability to be in the teams planning for the 2022 season. And sharing his views on his new team, he described Sabah FC, who finished the Super League this season in 9th position, as a competitive team, but believed there was room for improvement to achieve consistent results in the future. And with that, we end today's edition of News at 10. In our top story, Health Ministry no longer uses conventional herd immunity formula. Well, tune in to updates at noon at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon on TV2 and saluran Berita RTM, or you can also watch it online on RTM's Click website and mobile app. I'm Muhammad Amin Carlos. Thanks for watching. Good night.